This is a video about music and hearing impairments. It is a misconception that those with hearing impairments can't experience music. Just as typically hearing people vary in their appreciation and involvement with music, deaf people also have the opportunity to experience music in diverse ways. Babies are born with music potential.
Hi, I'm the mother of a busy household with 5 children, and it stands to reason that in that busy household there's a lot of noise. My 3-year-old used to love jiggling along and dancing with whatever music came on, and she would have a drum in her hand or bells or whatever as the older children were all singing. And we didn't ever really know that there was a problem because she could keep perfect beat, perfect rhythm, had a great sense of rhythm, and for 3 we thought, wow, this is really good. And then we sort of suddenly realised that if we weren't around, she couldn't actually locate where sounds were coming from until she actually saw us, and we gradually realised that she was watching the music the others were performing, and that she was actually following what she was watching and what she was feeling, and she was really quite deaf. And we went and had her checked. To start with, we did a few little discreet things at home, like clapping behind her and making loud noises behind her, and she didn't seem to be aware of them. But if she could see the movement, see the music, or see the clapping, she would respond to it. So we thought, aha. We took her along to the doctors, and sure enough, she was really quite deaf. Thankfully, that could easily be rectified with the use of grommets, but she had intermittent hearing loss for quite a long time, and the hearing loss was so significant that they said that it was probably like her hearing from underneath the water in a swimming pool. And it's just incredible for us to think that all this time, because she responded so well to music, we just didn't recognise her deafness. But yeah, it's great now that her hearing's much better, and she's a lot older now, but she's still able to keep rhythm and still able to appreciate and love her music.
There are many examples of well-known composers or performers who are hard of hearing. Beethoven was deaf for the last 8 years of his life, but was able to compose his 9th Symphony using a wooden stick between his teeth to feel the vibrations of the piano. Evelyn Glennie is a solo percussionist who testifies she has a broader range of listening as her whole body feels the vibrations of music, both physically and emotionally, rather than just the ears. The rhythmic vibrations of music have been shown to activate the auditory brain cortex. Because of the recognised assistance in vibrations in conveying music, devices such as the Audiva high-pitch training system have been developed to enable bone hearing.
Hello, my name is Rustam Yumesh. I was asked to share my experience and thoughts on music, sound and hearing impairment. I have myself been living with the increasing hearing loss, mostly in high frequencies, for the last 10 years. And it's probably a result of medication I was taking back in my childhood for sore throat. So I had to learn to use hearing aid, and I'm increasingly relying on my hearing aids to communicate with people and do my job. So I think I have quite an interesting experience, and so here are some of my thoughts. Our relationship with sound is profound, but most people don't even realize it. Brain science just started exploring the connection between brain, music and sound itself. Just think for a moment. Before we're even born, in our first moment of coming to being, the first thing we're exposed to, vibration of all kinds. Mostly voices, of course, voices of mother and father, other people around, mother's heartbeat. Sounds, sounds, sounds. They penetrate every cell in our bodies, long before we become even capable of making sense of them and start discriminating calls of joy from calls of danger, timbres of love and sorrow, all nuances of emotions and feelings carried by music, song and poems. We can hear before we can see, before we can make sense of objects in the material world or recognize faces. It is not surprising that sound can heal and change the brain and mind. Some vibrations shaped us from the start. Others we needed but didn't get in the first place. They bring organized patterns that reverberate and entrain our complex neuronal networks to harmonize, to synchronize, to adapt, to integrate, or the opposite, disturb, alarm, adapt to something new, chaotic, very different from what we're used to. Not being able to hear diminishes our connection with the world, people around us, and nature. It makes us poorer in many ways. It is important to mention that brain is plastic. It changes all the time. So the science of neuroplasticity has shown that the brain can change and compensate for lost function. Blind people can see using other senses, and similarly, deafness can be compensated through vibration. The brain can learn to interpret patterns. I believe that music can help us to sharpen the discrimination of sound. The human cortex has an ability to decode information coming from the damaged hearing channels. It is a case of a cocktail party, where the crowd is a massive cacophony of words and sounds. How do we follow conversation and stay focused on significant voices? Just as hearing aid can amplify lost frequencies, the task for the brain is the same, to stay tuned and discriminate better between signal and noise. Even more so for those who are disadvantaged. The brain gets good at those things if it pays attention to. So attention is crucial. If something is significant and important, then the brain will generate more power and resources and recruit more neurons and connections to get better at understanding. This understanding enables the brain to take appropriate action to reach the goal in order to survive and thrive in the ever-changing world. Music is a powerful and rich simulator of such task. Music carries emotion and complexity, doubts, values, and passions. It helps the brain to learn to do a better job in saving us from the bad and keeping on the track to good by using our brain power to predict the future by remembering the past, all the patterns of things which we need to be mindful of. Thank you.
For the congenitally deaf, whose implants are activated at around 1 year old, there is evidence showing an audiovisual display of a random, unrelated mother singing a song is preferred to a soundless version of the same visual. Many people who could previously hear find music disappointing and unacceptable, as it is different to what they remember.
So, Nana, I was just wondering if you would be able to tell me if you remember what music was like before your hearing aids and what it's like now.
Well, different.
Different?
A different tone altogether.
Okay.
And if I put the hearing aids lower, it seems a little bit more normal.
Okay.
But it is really different.
So the more amplification on your hearing aids, the worse the sound sounds.
Yeah.
But do you still enjoy the music?
Not as much as I did
Okay.
because of that. No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
And what aspects of the music are really prominent for you? Do you find the pitch is hardest to hear, or do you like the rhythm? Is the rhythm still really easy to get, or?
Yeah, no, the rhythm's alright. It's the pitch that's different.
It's the pitch.
Yes.
Okay. But it's bearable? Yeah?
Oh, yes. I can still play and enjoy it to a point,
Okay.
but nothing like it without the hearing aids.
Okay. And your own music making, do you still enjoy playing piano and you still enjoy
yes.
singing?
Yes, I do.
So it's easy enough for you to enjoy yourself, you just find it difficult to appreciate other people as much.
That's right. Yeah, I enjoy it, but not as much as I did.
Okay.
No.
Thank you very much for your answers.
Music is generally more engaging and memorable for children with hearing aids or implants than those who have lost their hearing. People in this situation have no acoustic expectations regarding the way music should sound due to the lack of prior experience.
Text message interview with Leonie. First, can you please tell me, do you have hearing aids?
Yes, I use wearing hearing aids is only hear sounds but not hear what they say.
That must be very hard for you. Do you use sign language?
Yes, I do, and very good lip read.
Well done. Lip reading would be very challenging. Do you like music?
Yes, and love it. Yes, I love music because can feel through my body when very loud but not hear what kind music is or say of song.
That's great. Do you sing with sign language?
Yes, I do. When person points words to sing and I follow up.
Do you play any instruments now or in the past?
In past I do play guitar with headphone but just learning. I love feel drum of sound like beat because I can feel through my body.
Do you use the drum?
In past just try to do on drum beats to follow but not easy.
But it makes you happy, so that's good. Would you tell someone who can't hear to learn music and to listen to music? What advice or help would you tell your friend?
It not easy to tell person because person think I can't learn and not hear. It only listen to sound of music, not words to say. If I tell my friend and they think I'm crazy, they would not trying because of deaf or hearing impaired. That mean it would be frightening to and will make feel pick on if they try to play music.
Do you think it would be good if there was more help for a deaf person to know music?
If you try to do this because every deaf person are different, it would not be easy.
That is true. Thank you so much for helping me, Leonie. Are there any other points you would like to tell me?
Sometimes deaf person can't talking really well, mean voice not clear when talking. I have been involved with hearing people and my voice is clearly for hearing people to understand me. Deaf people love touch and sound of music through their hands. Understand music of sound by feeling through hands and body too.
Music can be very powerful for a deaf person.
Yes, that is true because I love loud music to make me feel alive, to moving around like dance.
You have been a very big help, Leonie.
Thank you for asking me and very happy with it.
Interview with Emma, hearing at 22. Do you have one or two cochlear implants?
I have 2 implants.
Does music sound different now to previously?
Well, to tell you the truth, actual music sounds exactly the same in terms of the notes, but it's obviously a lot easier to hear it. The main difference is I can actually hear the words and lyrics, whereas I never used to be able to. So that made music a whole new world really, and gave it a whole new meaning. I enjoy music much as before, but I find I still have to try and listen for the lyrics. As I've gone so long without doing it, I have to remind myself to actually try.
What parts of music are prominent?
Nothing about the music is prominent, I would say.
Do you enjoy singing?
No, I'm not a singer. I've gone so long with it being too self-conscious. I wouldn't even do karaoke in front of people, as I'm still not up to scratch with lyrics.
How does club music sound through implants?
To tell you the truth, club music is just the same to me as everyone else, just loud. I assume it's the same, I obviously don't have anything to compare it to, but my implants can filter out things, so I'm assuming if it's too loud then it must change some aspects of it.
Have you ever had much experience with sign singing?
Yes, it's beautiful. My mum taught me in my school classes, and we performed at our end of year performances and at the council between year 4 to 7, I think.
Thank you so much, Emma.
Happy to help.
There are many ways in which music can become more accessible for the hearing impaired. In an orchestral environment, the spatial location is important as it enables one to see the conductor's beats and to lip read. Muscle memory and vibrotactile feedback are particularly beneficial in assisting deaf people to play musical instruments. Rather than a typical audio metronome, the beat of the music can be kept by a mechanical metronome, tapping the ankle or an external person performing the same role. Accommodations should be considered whilst building to better the acoustics and vibration capacity. For example, vibrations are carried much better in buildings with wooden floors, so performing in such facilities would increase the accessibility to the hearing impaired.
Information provided by Hayley, a teacher of the deaf.
The students on my caseload are all hearing aid users and have varying degrees of hearing loss. They access music by increasing the volume on the CD player or iPod. Several students have sound-filled speakers in their classrooms, and theoretically the music can be played through them, but I'm not sure how often that happens. My colleague has students with a greater degree of hearing loss, all with cochlear implants. They all love music as a subject at school and are sometimes in the choir. Their biggest issue is difficulty in learning the words of songs. That is very difficult for them. They all attend primary school and recently were entranced by a visit from a touring orchestra. This visit even inspired one student to ask for violin lessons. We have a deaf man in our service who has no devices and is an Auslan user. He attends deaf club functions and enjoys music through vibrations from the wooden floor. He struggled with the same orchestra concert many of the students loved, as he couldn't feel any vibrations through the floor, as the hall where the orchestra performed is built on a slab.
Music is not about hearing any more than language is, and deaf people are not insensitive to the consequences of sound.